The skies of Valeris were no longer blue. Smoke, fire, and ash had taken over. Giant enemy ships floated like monsters above the once beautiful city. Buildings were broken. The streets were full of dust and fear. The last defense tower had just fallen, and now there was silence. But it was the kind of silence that comes before death. Inside a small underground bunker, Commander Rin looked at the hologram map. Red lights blinked all across it. Each red light showed a fallen zone. The enemy had surrounded the capital. There was nowhere left to run. "We are outnumbered," said Captain Vel. His voice was calm, but his eyes were tired. No backup. No reinforcements. "This is it." Commander Rin nodded slowly. "Then we make our last stand here." Around them, young Ellerin soldiers stood ready. Their armor was old. Their weapons overheated after every shot, but none of them stepped back. They all knew what was coming. Above ground, the enemy prepared their final wave. The Zurich Empire, cold and merciless, had already taken 10 planets this month. Elleris would be number 11. They called it cleansing. To them, the Ellerin were weak, soft, not worth sparing. Children cried in hiding places. Mothers held on to silent hope. But deep down, everyone knew. This was the end. Commander Rin opened the citywide communication line. Her voice echoed across every remaining speaker. "People of Elleris, you have fought bravely. Today, we do not fight to win. We fight so that history will remember us. Let the enemy know. They may take our planet, but they will never erase who we were." The speech was short. There was no time left for hope. Outside, the ground started to shake. The Zurich ground forces were moving in. Tanks rolled over streets. Metal walkers smashed through buildings. From the sky, dropships began landing enemy troops in every sector. Captain Vel looked at Rin. "They're here." She raised her weapon and gave one last order. "Then let's give them hell." The defenders of Elleris rose from the bunkers. They fired from rooftops, from behind broken walls, from dark alleyways. They used everything: plasma rifles, grenades, even farming tools. But the enemy was too many, too fast, too strong. Every moment, another sector fell. Then, something strange happened. A loud, sharp sound cut through the air. It wasn't Zeractech. It was deeper, heavier. The sky flashed. A blinding white light ripped through a section of the Zurich fleet. What was that? Vel shouted, ducking behind a crashed vehicle. "I don't know," Rin said. "That wasn't ours." They looked up. Something massive broke through the clouds, sleek, dark, and burning through the air like a blade. It didn't match any known ship. Then came another, and another. The Zurich ships began moving erratically. Some even tried to run. "Commander," a voice crackled through the radio. It was a strange accent. Calm, confident, unknown. "This is Captain Reyes of the Earth Strike Force. We received your distress signal. Hold your ground. Help has arrived." Rin froze. Earth? The humans? They were supposed to be extinct. At least, that's what the galaxy believed. Nobody had heard from them in over 150 years. "I think it's a trick," Vel whispered. "Zurich games." But the sky proved him wrong. Human ships, smaller but faster, danced between Zurich cruisers like falcons among clumsy vultures. One by one, Zurich ships exploded, unable to keep up. And then the humans landed. Their soldiers wore armor black as night. Their helmets glowed with red light. They moved fast. Too fast. Ellerin soldiers could barely follow them with their eyes. In less than 5 minutes, the entire east sector was cleared. A single Zurich warrior tried to charge one of the humans. The human didn't even fire a weapon. He just stepped aside and crushed the enemy with one punch. Rin watched from her broken tower. She didn't understand. Why were humans helping? Where had they been all this time? And why did they look so angry? Vel lowered his weapon and stared. "Commander, I think we just got saved." Rin didn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the largest human soldier, standing tall at the center of the battlefield. The man slowly looked up at the tower. For a second, their eyes met through the scope of a helmet. Then the human gave a nod, just once, and disappeared into smoke. A signal came through again. "Captain Reyes, we're not here to occupy. We're here to settle an old score. Stand by. The war is about to change." The radio clicked off. Rin looked at Vel. Tell everyone to regroup, she said, and record everything. History is waking up. Outside, the battlefield lit up again. This time, not with Zurich fire, but with something far more terrifying. Hope. Smoke filled the air. The ground shook. But this time, it wasn't from Zurich tanks. It was something else. Something bigger. Commander Rin stood on a broken rooftop, her eyes locked on the sky. The human ships were descending. Sleek, fast, and sharp like knives. Their engines made a low thunder, a sound that felt alive, like it had a heartbeat. One by one, they landed in the city's dead zones. But the Zurich weren't running. Not yet. They were angry now. The Zurich commander, a tall brute named Vorak, snarled at the sight of the strange ships. His armor was covered in the blood of a dozen races. He had crushed rebellion after rebellion. He would not let these ghosts stop him. New enemies, let them come, he growled. We will feed their bones to the fire. He raised his plasma blade and gave the order. Charge. Zurich forces rushed forward like waves of death. But then, the humans stepped out. Only about a dozen at first. Their armor was black with red and blue lines glowing on the chest and arms. Their helmets had no face, only a smooth glass surface. They moved in perfect lines, without fear, without sound. The people of Alaris stopped fighting for a moment. Even the Zurich slowed. One human raised a hand, and then everything changed. A flash of light tore across the battlefield. Human drones, small like birds, but faster than bullets, burst from the dropships and danced in the air. They locked onto Zurich vehicles and ripped them apart in seconds. Zurich soldiers screamed. Their guns jammed. Their comms went silent. Their shields failed. What kind of weapons are these? Captain Vel gasped. Not weapons, Commander Rin said, watching. This is precision. This is punishment. One Zurich fighter tried to shoot a drone, but before he could aim, a human soldier appeared behind him and crushed his head with a metal boot. Another Zurich screamed orders, but his voice was drowned by the roar of a new sound from above. A beast dropped from the sky. At first, they thought it was a mech, tall, armored, burning with white heat. But no, this one was alive. Half machine, half human. A cybernetic titan with glowing eyes. It landed in the middle of the enemy forces, sending a shockwave so strong it flipped tanks like toys. The Zurich screamed in panic. Rin's radio crackled. This is Strike Squad Delta. Target zone cleared. Preparing for next wave. Vel's jaw dropped. Next wave, that wasn't the full team. Then came the rest. Dozens more human ships fell from orbit. Each one dropped units with different specializations. Some heavy artillery, some fast assault, some even walking tank-like suits piloted by enhanced soldiers. And behind them, smaller units carrying crates. Medical supplies. Food. Water. Humans weren't just fighting. They came prepared to save the planet. They've done this before, Ren whispered. This isn't the first time. A young Ellerin scout ran up, breathless. Commander, civilians are being moved. The humans set up shield zones. They're protecting families. What? She asked. They're creating safe zones behind the front lines. They're pushing the Zurich back. In less than an hour, what was once a hopeless last stand became a battlefield under human control. But the question still hung heavy in the air. Why now? Where had they been? And most importantly, what did they want in return? As the Zurich fell back, their commander Vorak roared in anger. He slammed his fist into the ground, cracking the stone beneath. These aren't normal soldiers, he shouted. They're monsters. No, said one of his lieutenants, trembling. They're human. Vorak froze. Human. That word hadn't been spoken in over a century. The last time anyone mentioned Earth, it was in stories. Ghost tales. Warnings. Now those ghosts were standing on the battlefield, and they were winning. Later that night, the stars above Alaris glowed bright again, this time with ships forming a shield above the planet. Inside a command tent, Commander Rin was finally brought face to face with Captain Reyes, leader of the human forces. He removed his helmet. His face was sharp, calm, cold, but his eyes burned with something ancient, something angry. You're human, she said quietly. He nodded. I thought your kind disappeared. We didn't, he said. We watched. We waited. For what? He looked her in the eyes. For the galaxy to forget us. And now that it has, we've come back. Commander Rin didn't know whether to feel relief or fear. But one thing was clear. The Zurak were running. And the thunder from the sky was just the beginning. The smoke hadn't cleared yet, but the people of Alaris could already feel the difference. No more Zurak screams. No more explosions. Just silence. And the soft hum of human technology. The air smelled like ash and metal, but also like hope. Commander Rin walked through the ruins of Sector 7, where just hours ago Zurak tanks had crushed everything. Now, human engineers were repairing water lines. Medical drones floated by, scanning the wounded and injecting healing foam directly into their skin. Rin still couldn't believe it. Earth was back. And the humans weren't weak. They were something else now. Stronger. Faster. Smarter. It was like they had gone silent for 100 years just to become a new kind of weapon. She saw one of them up close now. No helmet. Just a face with strange scars across the jaw. His eyes were like glass. Not empty. Just full of too many memories. "What happened to you?" she asked. The human looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice low and calm. "War happened, and we made sure it would never happen to us again." Meanwhile, high above the planet, in orbit, the Zurak fleet tried to regroup. Their ships were larger, but slow, designed for crushing weak planets, not facing elite soldiers. In the command ship, Vorak paced furiously. "These humans should not exist," he shouted. "They were supposed to be extinct." A Zurak tech officer bowed. "They never disappeared, Commander. They went quiet, deep underground, on a world hidden from all scanners." Vorak slammed his claws into the console. "Then we will burn that world." But another voice interrupted him. "You already tried." Everyone turned. A human voice, inside their ship. Suddenly, the control panels turned red. Every screen began flashing a symbol. A single red circle with a black line through it. Then the air split. A human soldier stepped out of what looked like thin air, some kind of cloaking tech. He stood tall in the middle of the bridge, his weapon already drawn. "I'm just here to return a favor," he said. Before the Zurak could react, he threw a small cube onto the floor. Boom! The lights went out. Screams followed. Back on the planet, Captain Reyes received the signal. Disruption in enemy command confirmed. Extraction complete. Reyes turned to his team. It's time to show them what they forgot. He led them to an underground vault just outside the Ellerin capital, a place even the Ellerin had forgotten. Covered in vines and sand, the structure looked ancient. "What's in there?" Rin asked, arriving with her team. Reyes looked at her. Weapons. But not just any weapons. He stepped forward and pressed his hand on the door. A scanner lit up, then clicked open. Inside, the walls were lined with Earth symbols, glowing softly. Ancient tech, built during the last days before Earth went silent. Machines that never got the chance to be used. Until now. Project Revenant, Ray said. Back then, no one wanted to release these. Too dangerous. Too smart. Rin looked around. Why bring them here? Because the Zurak made one mistake, he said. They came to a world Earth once protected. They'll step forward. You mean, you built weapons for this planet? Reyes nodded. We built weapons for every planet we knew the Zurak would touch. Back at the front lines, Zurak troops gathered for one last push. They had numbers, and some still believed they could win. But they didn't know what was coming. From the sky, the Earth dropships opened again. This time, the cargo wasn't soldiers. It was walkers, massive machines with legs like beasts, armed with particle cannons, energy shields, and something even more dangerous, AI mines. The moment they hit the ground, they activated, and the battlefield changed again. Zurak tanks melted under plasma heat. Their infantry couldn't outrun the hunter drones. And in the middle of it all, one human soldier walked with a rifle glowing white-hot. Every shot was silent, but every enemy he hit dropped instantly. A voice from the walkers echoed across all open channels. We are Earth's forgotten weapons. We have awakened. This war ends now. Vorak, watching from space, roared. No more hiding. Fire the planet killer. His crew hesitated. Do it. But just as the weapon charged, a strange signal entered the Zurak systems. The kill code, the command override. A human whisper filled their ship. You never should have touched Elaris. Boom! The Zurak command ship exploded in silence. That night, the people of Elaris gathered outside the rebuilt city core. Lights floated in the sky. Food was being handed out. Children smiled for the first time in weeks. But Rin couldn't sleep. She walked to the edge of the camp and found Raiz standing alone. You said this war ends now, she said. Does it really? Raiz looked up at the stars. No, he replied. It ends when the galaxy remembers what humans are. Rin frowned. And what are you? He turned to her. The reason monsters hide under their beds. The galaxy was quiet, not because there was peace, but because something worse than war had arrived. News of the Zurak defeat on Elaris spread fast, faster than light. Across systems and sectors, rulers and warlords listened to the same broken message sent from the last Zurak ship. They're back. The humans are back. And then silence. That silence was the message. Earth had returned, not with words, not with flags, but with force. And the whole galaxy was listening. On Elaris, the people tried to rebuild, but peace didn't come easy. The skies were clear, yes. The Zurak were gone. For now, but tension filled the air. Everyone wanted to know. Why did Earth help them? What do the humans want now? And where had they been for the last 100 years? Commander Rin paced inside the command center, watching satellite footage of human ships flying in perfect formation. They didn't ask permission. They didn't explain anything. They simply took control. Her second-in-command, Vel, stood beside her. They'd given us food, weapons, and clean water. But no answers, he said. Rin nodded. That's what worries me. Just then, a human transmission broke through their private channel. Commander Rin, Captain Raiz requests your presence. Rin's pulse quickened. She followed the signal to an old tower, once a Zurak outpost, now turned into a human war room. Inside, glowing maps covered the walls. Human soldiers moved with purpose. But at the center stood something unexpected. A child. Or at least, she looked like one. She wore a white coat, long and strange. Her eyes glowed a faint blue. And when she spoke, her voice was layered, like a whisper echoing in metal. I am Kai-7, the child said. I am Earth's voice. Rin stepped back. What are you? Captain Raiz entered behind her. She's what the old Earth left behind. A sentient message. A message? Rin asked. Kai-7 turned toward a nearby screen. Suddenly, old footage began to play. Real war footage. It showed Earth burning, not from outside attack, but from within. Civil wars, bioplagues, AI uprisings. Then, the humans vanished from galactic view. They stopped trading, stopped responding. Everyone thought they were gone. But the truth was worse. They went dark, to prepare. Earth had turned inward, building new weapons, training hidden armies, and designing the ultimate failsafes. Kai-7 pointed to the footage of a hidden moon. This was built 70 years ago, a signal hub. From here, I watched the galaxy, and when Elaris called for help, I answered. Rin stepped forward. So you're not here just to help us? Raiz replied. No, we're here to remind the galaxy. Remind them of what? He looked at her with cold eyes. That Earth may be quiet, but we are never asleep. Meanwhile, far from Elaris, in the Drexian core system, another power watched the human return. The Drexians were not like the Zurak. They were smarter, older, and much more careful. Inside a dark chamber, the Drexian leader watched human footage on a loop. They used cloaking we've never seen. Walkers with AI minds. Orbit drop units that land within 2 meters of target zones. One of his advisors growled. We could match their tech. If we attacked first. No, the leader snapped. This is not the time for war. This is time for calculation. He stood and walked to a large galactic map. They sent their message. We must decide what to send back. Back on Elaris, Kai-7 guided Rin to a deep chamber, far below the city. As they walked, she explained. Earth created me to be a warning, a record, but also a decision-maker. Decision-maker? Rin asked. Kai-7 stopped at a large door. Inside, old Earth tech glowed softly. Screens showed hundreds of worlds, and their threat levels. This, Kai-7 said, is the list. Rin stared, Her planet's name, Alaris, was on it. Next to it, a single word, monitored. What's this for? Rin asked. Ray's answered, if a planet becomes dangerous to others, or to humans, Earth decides what happens to it. Rin's heart sank. You're watching everyone. Yes, Ray said, and we always have. That night, a final message was sent from Alaris. It wasn't encrypted. It wasn't hidden. It was meant for everyone. The screen went dark. Then a simple voice, Kai Sevens, spoke across every channel. This is Earth. We do not seek control. We do not seek war. But we remember everything. If you come for the weak, we will come for you. The last image showed the Zurich fleet, in pieces. The message ended. And across the galaxy, rulers turned off their screens. Some in fear. Some in rage. But all of them with one thought in mind. What happens when Earth comes again? The message from Earth had spread like fire. Some listened in silence. Others started preparing for war. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, some began to whisper, not in fear, in hatred, because they remembered Earth, not the new Earth with plasma rifles and war machines, but the old Earth, the one that had made mistakes, and some had never forgiven them. Deep in the gray nebula, a secret meeting took place on a rogue station known only as the Cradle. 5 alien warlords sat around a cold metal table. None trusted each other. All had scars that Earth had caused. A Drexian with metal lungs growled, humans think they are saviors now. A Urot general with half a face hissed, they're liars. They say they help the weak, but only after they burned half the galaxy. An insectoid queen slammed her claws down. They poisoned my planet's oceans to stop a war they didn't understand. All heads turned when a dark figure entered the room. Hooded, silent, but powerful. Everyone stood. The figure slowly lowered his hood. A human. But not from Earth. His voice was cold. They forgot about me, left me behind after their last war. His name was Cassin Vol. Once a soldier of Earth, now the leader of the forgotten. Back on Alaris, things looked calm, but only on the surface. Commander Rin watched human machines rebuilding cities. Children played again. Food and power were no longer a problem. But still, something felt wrong. Ray stood beside her on the platform above the city. You're worried. She nodded. Not about Alaris. About the galaxy. Ray didn't answer. Instead, he looked at the sky. They're coming, he said softly. The ones who remember. Meanwhile, far away, Cashin stood in front of an army of misfits. Alien mercenaries, ex-human soldiers, band-aid drones, all trained in silence, all hiding from Earth's gaze. He raised his arm. We strike not at Earth, but at their belief. How? One asked. Cashin smiled. We take what they protect. We make them break their own rules. And we show the galaxy that Earth is still just another empire. 2 nights later, the first hit came. A medical freighter, carrying human supplies to a peaceful moon, was destroyed mid-flight. No warning. No survivors. Then another. And another. It wasn't a war. It was surgical chaos. Whoever was behind it knew Earth's systems, knew how to disappear, how to hurt without showing their face. Captain Reyes read the reports. His face grew colder with each one. They're not attacking to win, he said. They're attacking to make us look like fools. Commander Rin looked at him. You know who it is? He nodded. Cassin Vol. Rin stared. The name means nothing to me. It should, Reyes said. He was one of ours. A hero. Until he was left behind on a doomed mission. Now, he thinks Earth betrayed him. And did it? Ren asked softly. Rides looked away. Sometimes, you have to lose one man to save a million. At midnight, Earth received a message. Not public, not loud, but clear. A shadowy figure appeared on the screen. Cashin's voice filled the room. You sent your machines, your perfect soldiers, your peace speeches. But you left us behind. You burned the galaxy to build your new image. Now, we burn your hope. Come find me, if you dare. Then coordinates appeared. A planet marked long ago as Red Zone. Abandoned. Raids clenched his fists. We go now. Commander Rin stepped forward. I'm coming too. Ray shook his head. This is human business. But Rin's voice was calm and firm. No, it's galaxy business now. If he's trying to show the galaxy that Earth can't protect anyone, then we stand with you. Reyes finally nodded. Suit up. The strike team dropped in silence. They landed on the dead planet, a place called Vornax 9. Once green, now black and broken. Everything smelled like old smoke and dust. As they moved forward, something strange happened. The ground spoke. Not in voice, in sound. Click, click, click. Mines. The first explosion threw 2 soldiers backward. Screams followed, but that wasn't the trap. The real trap was the broadcast. Cashin's voice echoed again. You walk on land that Earth abandoned. You walk among people Earth forgot, and now you think you can fix it with fire and steel. Let's see what happens when the protectors need protection. Boom! More explosions. Rin and Reyes were separated. She screamed into her comms, "We're cut off." But Reyes didn't answer. All she heard was static. And somewhere in the ruins, Cashin waited, smiling. The planet Vornax 9 was silent again. Smoke drifted in the air. The ground still shook from the hidden mines. Half the human strike team was injured or missing. And Commander Rin was alone. Her helmet visor flickered. Her communication was down. Blood dripped from her forehead. But she didn't stop moving. She had one mission now. Find Captain Reyes and stop Cassian Vol. Far beneath the surface, in the ruins of an old Earth bunker, Cassian watched everything on a dozen screens. He smiled. They sent their best, he whispered. But they still don't understand. I am not fighting for revenge. I'm fighting for truth. Next to him stood something massive. A machine. But not just any machine. This one used to be human. Now it was made of fire and iron. A fusion of broken flesh and outlawed tech. Its eyes glowed red. Its chest bore the old Earth symbol. Burned. Cassian turned to it. Are you ready? The machine's voice rumbled like thunder. Command me. In the tunnels above, Commander Rin found 2 human soldiers pinned under rubble. Stay with me, she said, pulling one free. The others, Reyes. One of them whispered. They went below. And then it came. What came? The soldier's eyes widened. It wasn't a man anymore. Meanwhile, Reyes was deeper in the bunker, gun drawn. Sweat poured down his neck. Every step echoed through cold metal halls. Then a voice spoke. Cassian's. Not through speakers, but straight into his helmet. You left me, Reyes. We were brothers once. You told me to hold the line. I held it for 3 years. No backup. No rescue. Just silence. Reyes whispered back. I did what I had to. Cassian laughed. No, you did what was easy. Suddenly, the door ahead burst open. Out came the monster. The traitor made of fire and iron. Reyes fired. The bullets bounced off. The thing moved fast. Too fast. It tackled him into a wall, crushing metal. Sparks flew. Reyes groaned. What are you? The machine's voice growled. I am Earth's failure. Outside, Rin found an old elevator shaft. Broken, but still usable. She climbed down using a cable, the heat growing stronger the deeper she went. She didn't know what waited below. But she had seen enough war to feel one truth. Something down here had to die, or the galaxy would never be safe. Back in the bunker, Cassian stood in front of a large data core. He typed rapidly, downloading something. His plan wasn't just about revenge. It was about exposure. He had found files in the old bunker, hidden missions, dark orders, proof that Earth had destroyed more than it saved during its silent century. If he leaked them now, millions would turn against the humans. They made me a traitor, he said. Now I'll make them monsters. Rin reached the final level. Gun ready, heart pounding. She turned a corner, and there he was, Cassian Vol. Older than she expected. Tired, but his eyes burned with purpose. I'm not here to kill you, she said. Cassian raised a hand. Then you've already lost. From the shadows, the fire and iron machine stepped forward. Rin fired, but it didn't stop. It swatted her weapon away like paper. She ducked, rolled, threw a flash grenade. Boom! Sparks flew. Cassian shielded his eyes, but Rin didn't wait. She lunged at the data core, tearing the drive out of the console. No, Cashin screamed. But she had it. I don't care about Earth's secrets, she said. I care about stopping another war. The machine charged, but Reyes appeared from behind, holding a plasma cutter. He drove it deep into the machine's back. Sparks exploded. The monster howled. Rin aimed her emergency pistol and fired into the red eye. Boom! The traitor machine fell. Burning. Cashin stared at it, shaking. You destroyed the only proof. Ray stepped forward, wounded but standing. No, he said. We'll tell the truth, but not your way. Cashin dropped to his knees. He didn't fight. He just whispered, then don't forget me again. Later, on the ship back to the Laris, Rin sat beside Reyes. You knew him well, she said. I did. You left him behind. I had orders. They sat in silence. Then Rin said, so what now? Reyes looked out the window at the stars. Now we prepare. Because this wasn't the end. Cashin was only the first. It should have been over. Cassin Vol was in custody. The traitor machine was destroyed. The stolen data was safe. But Commander Rin couldn't sleep. Something didn't feel right. And she was right to worry. Because Cashin had whispered one final thing before they locked him away. I was just the echo. The storm is still coming. On Earth, far beneath the white towers and clean skies, in the oldest bunker of them all, something ancient woke up. Not a person. Not a weapon. A protocol. A final command, buried deep in the Earth's secret systems, only triggered if Earth believed its influence was slipping. The protocol was called Spectre Code Omega, and it was never meant to be used. In orbit above Elaris, a fleet of human ships arrived, massive, black, silent. They didn't answer hails. They didn't scan the planet. They just hovered, waiting. Ray stood on the city roof beside Rin, eyes wide. I don't recognize their markings, he said. That's your fleet? Rin asked. He shook his head. No, that's something older. Suddenly, all screens across Elaris lit up. A message began playing. But this time, it wasn't Cashin. It wasn't Reyes. It wasn't anyone alive. A cold voice echoed through the air. You are watching this message because the balance has shifted. Earth offered peace. It offered unity. And now, it has been challenged. The screen showed images of human soldiers dying in recent attacks. Of rebels hiding. Of aliens rising. We were never just human. We were the ones who crawled out of fire, who turned stone into skyships, who lost entire continents and still built more. This is Earth's final warning. If the galaxy will not accept peace, it will remember fear. Then came the storm. Black ships rained down plasma strikes on 3 enemy systems. No warning, no mercy. They didn't just target bases. They leveled entire worlds that had harbored rogue groups. Cassian, still in his prison cell, smiled bitterly when the news reached him. I told them, he whispered, they weren't saving the galaxy. They were controlling it. On Elaris, the people watched in horror. Cities that had once doubted Earth now begged for protection. The message had worked. Earth was feared again. But something had changed in Reyes. He sat in silence in the war room, watching footage of children running from the blasts. Rin entered. You're quiet. I signed up to protect, he said. Not to become a god of thunder. You think Earth made the wrong choice. I think Earth stopped asking questions. Later that night, Ray stood in front of a hidden console inside his ship. He unlocked a file. One only captains were allowed to see. It was a list. A list of targets, planets, leaders, whole species. Earth's backup solution in case the galaxy ever rejected its peace again. Ray stared at the blinking red light beside the top target. Elaris. His hand hovered over the panel. He didn't press it. Instead, he wiped the file. He met Rin on the platform just before dawn. They won't stop, he said. Earth has become something else. Something colder. Rin nodded. Then what do we do? We remind them. Of what? He looked at the rising sun. That humanity isn't just ships and weapons. It's sacrifice, compassion, hope. Together, they sent the new message to Earth. It was simple. Just 4 words. We do not obey. And that message spread. Other planets joined. Not in rebellion, but in resistance. Not against Earth's people, but against its fear. Earth responded by cutting off supplies. But it was too late. The idea had already taken root. The galaxy didn't need saviors. It needed partners. Cassian sat in silence as the stars shifted outside his cell window. He had started something. But not the war he wanted. Something stranger. A choice. And far above them all, beyond Earth's reach, a satellite activated on its own. One no one remembered building. It sent one signal. One word. Observed. And in a quiet corner of the universe, something answered back. Something not human. Not friendly. Not afraid.